Okay, lesson 2.1.3. In this lesson the pupils build a simple series circuit and measure the current through and the voltage across each of the components in the circuit. So the first task is to build the circuit exactly as shown in the diagram. So once the pupils have built that circuit, everything should be connected like that, and the bulb should be lit because we have a complete circuit. And the first thing we'll have to do is measure the current through each of the three components. So, when doing this, they will need an ammeter, and the ammeter is connected in series with all of the other components. So, we'll need to remove that pin and put the ammeter in series with the cell. Now, at this point it's worth noting, if there's a negative sign, there's no need to worry about that. All you need to do is swap the wires round. There's no need for the pupils to understand why it's like that at this stage. As you can see, we now have a current of 0.03. And that one was through the cell. Next thing we need to do is measure the current through the lamp. All we need to do is put the ammeter next to the lamp. Current this place is 0.04. And then finally we're going to measure the current through the resistor. And as you can see, the current through the resistor is flashing between 0.03 and 0.04. So, what we've seen there and what the pupils should see is the current through each of the components is very similar. Now obviously 0.03 and 0.04 are different, but they are very similar. And you would expect the current to be the same at all points, because all the current does is it measures the charge or electrons flowing every second. And obviously because the electrons have only got one route to move through this circuit, you would expect the same number to be at different points around the circuit. So the current should be the same at all points around the circuit. The next thing pupils have to do is measure the voltage across each of the components. So we need to put the circuit back to like we had at the start and remove the ammeter. And this time we're in a voltmeter. Now, a voltmeter is different to an ammeter in that it gets connected in parallel across each of the components rather than in series within the circuit. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to measure the voltage across the lamp just by getting the two terminals of the voltmeter and connecting it across the lamp, which gives us a reading of 3.06 volts. We're then going to measure the voltage across the resistor in the same way, and it's going to give us a reading of 2.77 volts. And finally we're going to measure the voltage across the cell, which gives us a reading of 5.83. Now, what should happen in a series circuit is the voltage across each of the components should add up to give you the voltage across the supply. So let's just see how well that's worked. 3.06 plus 2.77 gives you exactly 5.83, so this has worked very well. Now, it might not be the case that you will always get it correct to 2 decimal places as we've got it there, but it should be pretty close. The voltage across the lamp plus the voltage across the resistor should come very close to the voltage that you've measured across the cell. So, in summary, in a simple series circuit you should find that the current is the same at all points, and the voltages across each of the components should add up to give you the voltage across your supply.